Okay, next up we have geometric progression. Okay, for example, we have the terms, say a sub 1, a sub 2, a sub 3 up to, this is a sub n. So we can tell that this progression is under geometric progression if we have the common ratio. So common ratio is basically equal to this, the ratio of the second term to the first term, and also equal to the ratio of the third term to the second term. Fourth term to the third term, fifth term to the fourth term, and so on. So for example, we are to compute for the equivalent of the second term. This is a sub 2 is equal to the first term multiplied by the common ratio. If we are to compute for the third term, a sub 3 is equal to the second term multiplied by the common ratio. So what is the equivalent of the second term? So we have the third term. We have the third term is equal to a sub 2 is the same as a sub 1 times the common ratio times the common ratio. So we have the equivalent of the third term equal to the first term times the common ratio. This is now raised to 2. So it's a sub 3 is equal to a sub 1 r squared. So from this concept, let us generalize the formula for the nth term of geometric progression. So let's say this is a sub n. Within the first term, this is a sub 1. Common ratio, as you can see, if we have a subscript of 3, what is the exponent of the common ratio? That is 2. So if this is n, the exponent should be n minus 1. So this is our formula for the nth term of a geometric progression. That is, a sub n is equal to the first term, the common ratio is 2, n minus 1. So let's have an example. So for example, we have the terms 2, 6, and 18. So requirements, let's say we are looking for the 10th term. So for this, for the progression 2, 6, and 18, we are looking for the 10th term. So we have, let us first determine the common ratio. So common ratio, that is the same as 6 over 2 is equal to 3. Then we have common ratio is the same as, we have 18 divided by 6 is equal to 3. So we have a common ratio equal to 3. What is our first term? Our first term a sub 1 is equal to, we have 2. So we having, the a sub n is equal to the first term, the common ratio raised to n minus 1. So since we are looking for the 10th term, let's say n is equal to 10. So this is a sub 10 is equal to, what is our first term? We have 2. The common ratio is 3. This is raised to 10 minus 1. So let's compute for the 10th term. This is the same as 2 multiplied by 3. This is raised to 9. So we have the 10th term to be, this is equal to 39,366. That's our first example. I will proceed to the computation of the sum of the n terms of a geometric progression. So how do we compute for the sum of the terms? The sum is equal to first term plus the second term plus the third term up to, let's say this is up to the nth term. If we are to compute it manually, so we expand this one. We have the summation is equal to our first term plus, what is the equivalent of the second term? This is first term times the common ratio plus the third term is the first term times the common ratio squared, and plus what is our nth term? That is And the first term, common ratio, n minus, raised to n minus 1. So what we have to do here is multiply both sides of the equation by the common ratio. So it will result to the common ratio times the summation equal to first term times common ratio plus we have the first term times common ratio squared plus we have the first term common ratio cube up to let's say this is plus. If we have the same base, this is the same as raised to 1. The same base, add the exponents. So you have first term, common ratio, n minus 1 plus 1 is n. So this will be our resulting equation. If we are to multiply common ratio on both sides of the equation, of the first equation, if you are to multiply common ratio, this will be the result. So next thing to do is, this is the first equation. The first equation, the second equation, we are to subtract the second equation from the first equation. So we have, this is S, the summation minus the common ratio multiplied by the summation equal to a sub 1 is unique. We don't have a sub 1 on the second equation, so it means that will stay a1. So these terms will be eliminated. What is the term after a1 r squared? That is a1 r cubed. So this also be eliminated. How about this one? The a1 r raised to n minus 1 and a1 r raised to n. So what is the term before n? What is the term before n? The term before n is a1 n minus 1. The term before n is n minus 1. So these terms will be also eliminated. So the unique term on the second equation is a1. This is a sub 1, the common ratio raised to n. We factor out the summation. This is 1 minus the common ratio equal to the first term. We factor out the first term, 1 minus the common ratio raised to n. Then we divide both sides of the equation by 1 minus the common ratio. So we'll be having the equation for the sum of n terms of a geometric progression as the first term, a1. This is multiplied by 1 minus the common ratio raised to the number of terms all over 1 minus the common ratio. So our formula for the sum of the terms of a geometric progression. If we have an ordinary geometric progression, we have this infinite geometric progression. So how to determine the sum of an infinite geometric progression? But before that, let us discuss what are the possible example of infinite geometric progression. So we may know the first term, but we will never know what will be the last term. And we don't know how many terms are there in in an infinite geometric progression. One example, usually we have the term geometric progressions if we are involving to involve geometric figures. So for example, this triangle, I'll be creating a triangle by let's say joining the midpoints of each side. So this will be your second term. The first term will be the initial triangle. Another triangle will be drawn inside the triangle. Another one up to if we are to draw a microscopic triangle, for example. So we don't know how many possible triangles to be drawn inside this triangle. That is one example of infinite geometric progression. Other than that is a swinging pendulum, for example, or a freely swinging pendulum as long as we don't have any external force applied on this pendulum. Other than its, for example, initially we need this pendulum. So the pendulum will swing several times back and forth up to it will come to a stop. But we don't know how many swing did that the pendulum did. So we don't know how many terms. So that is also an example of an infinite geometric progression. So for an infinite geometric progression, the number of terms is infinity. We don't know how many terms are there. Other than that, if you see, the dimension of this triangle is a decreasing. If we have a decreasing value, which means the common ratio should be less than 1. So it means it should be a fraction other than 0, but it should be less than 1. So it's possible that 1/2, 1/4, 1/8. Okay, but it should be less than 1. Okay, so from the formula or equation, we have the equation for the sum. For ordinary geometric progression, we have that is the first term multiplied by 1 minus the common ratio raised to n. This is divided by 1 minus the common ratio. So if our common ratio is a fraction, okay, example, so our common ratio should be less than 1. So which means, for example, our common ratio is 1/2. So this is the same as if we are to consider this term, what will be the equivalent of the r raised to n if n is infinity? So we have that is the same as 1/2 raised to infinity. So this is the same as 1 over 2 raised to infinity. So what is 2 raised to infinity? That is the same as 1 over infinity. What is 1 divided by infinity? For example, 1 divided by 1 trillion, that is approximately equal to 0. So that makes our equation, this term, 0. So we'll be having the sum of the terms of an infinite geometric progression as the first term divided by 1 minus the common ratio. This will be our equation. The sum of the terms of an infinite geometric progression. Our examples. So number 1, find the sum of the first 8 terms of the geometric progression, 7, 28, 112. So we're having, let us first determine the common ratio. So that is our second term is 28 divided by 7. We have the rest, we have 4. How to determine the summation? The sum is equal to first term divided by 1 minus to the common ratio raised to n divided by 1 minus common ratio. So what is our first term? That is equal to 7. So we having the summation. The sum is now equal to 7. This is multiplied by 1 minus. Okay, our common ratio is 4. By the way, how many terms? We are looking for the sum of the first 8 terms. So 1 minus 4, this is raised to 8. This is divided by 1 minus 4. So let us compute for the sum of the first 8 terms. Okay, the sum of the first 8 terms equal to 152,950. This is an ordinary geometric progression. So let's try number 2. Okay, for problem number 2. So a rubber ball is made to fall from a height of 50 feet. So let's say this is 50 feet initially, and is observed to rebound 2/3 of the height to which it falls. So more likely, that 2/3 will be our, this is our common ratio. So how far will it travel before coming to rest if the ball continues to bounce in this manner? So we are talking, I think, if we say distance, how far will it travel before coming to rest? We are talking about the vertical heights bounced by the ball. So our common ratio is less than 2/3. So do we know how many possible bounce before the ball stops? So more likely, we don't know how many terms. So which means that the number of terms is infinite. That makes this an example of an infinite geometric progression. So we have now our common ratio. okay, all we have to do is look for our first term. So what will be our first term? Our first term will be, is it 50? Okay, so 50 is not our first term. Our first term is the first bounce of the ball. So this is our first term. So let's say this is our a sub 1. What is our a sub 1? Why is a sub 1 is equal to, that is the 2 over 3 of 50. That's equal to 100 feet divided by 100 over 3 feet. So why is it that we are going to use that as our first term, since that is the first time that the common ratio will take effect. Okay, that is our first term. Then, if we are to compute for the sum, that is equal to the first term divided by 1 minus the common ratio. So, we are to multiply this one, okay? We are to multiply it by 2. Why do we need to multiply it by 2? Since the ball is bouncing, so that is one distance upward and one distance downward. So, we need to multiply it by 2. So we're having the summation of the distances to be traveled by the ball, or these are the bounce heights. We have the first term is 100 over 3 divided by 1 minus, what is our common ratio? This is 2 over 3. Okay, to be multiplied by 2. So again, why do we need to multiply it by 2? The ball will bounce upward and downward. So we're having a distance equal to is 100 times 2 over 3, and the answer divided by 1 is 2 over 3. So we have a total distance of 200 feet. So is this our answer? 200 feet? Okay, no. So since we are looking for, the question is, how far will it travel before coming back or coming to rest? So take note that this 200 feet is the distances bounce upward then downward starting from A1. So our total distance is the same as the bounce heights upward and downward plus the initial 50 feet. So plus 50. So the total distance should be equal to 200 plus the initial height plus 50. So total distance of 250 feet. This will be our answer.